Coming up on this edition of The Solo Show,
we got a 5 o'clock in the morning flight, and that is, I'll tell everybody right now, that really is too early in the morning to fly. However, it almost guarantees you that your flight's going to be, there and pretty much on time. Mm-hmm. And basically, we were at the resort by 9:30. And also on a Friday, the day we left, we had a 10 p.m. flight. So we pretty much had virtually the entire day before we finally had to leave Saratoga.
Stan welcomes Chris Salata to the guest host chair, and they're going to talk about an adults-only trip. Not like that. They're going to talk about their adults-only trip to Walt Disney World. The Solo Show is brought to you, as always, by Victor Naraki Realtor, serving Disney and the greater Orlando area with celebratingflorida.com and disneyatyourdoorstep.com. The future is bright indeed. We're all of us dreaming of the better days ahead, and a part of your bright new future could be a move to where the magic lives in the greater Orlando area of Florida. One of the biggest decisions you'll make when considering a move is selecting a realtor who can successfully match you with the right home in the right location at the right price. Victor Naraki is the realtor who can help you make the move you've always wanted to. Whether you're a first-time homeowner or looking to move near Disney World, Victor is in your corner. If you are looking for an experienced real estate agent covering all of Central Florida, please visit disneyatyourdoorstep.com today and find out just why you should work with Victor. I encourage you to create a free, no-obligation account on his website. By doing so, you'll unlock the website's full potential and be able to enter specific criteria, save listings, and browse new properties sent to your email. Visit disneyatyourdoorstep.com today or visit his Facebook page, Victor Naraki Realtor. And don't forget to tell him The Solo Show sent you.
My goodness, you're all staring at us. We better start the show rolling.
Broadcasting from the Solo Studios, located in the steam pipe distribution venue of the Pop Century Resort, here in Winnipeg, Manitoba, the center of North America, on this little planet we call Earth. This is The Solo Show. On this adventure, Stan pulls out the guest host chair for our returning friend Chris Salata as we talk about Chris's adults-only trip. Now cut that out. Grow up. Can you do a trip to Walt Disney World, not visit any of the parks, and still have a great time? Find out by listening to this different kind of trip report. And don't forget your passport to fun and laughs for this one, listeners. So now, please welcome your host, the man who knows the actual reason that Donald Duck doesn't wear pants. Something to do with laundry and too much starch. I don't know. Here's Stan Solo!
Hello and welcome to another edition of The Solo Show. I am Stan Solo as always, and joining me today we have a repeat guest. I haven't seen him since the last time he was at Walt Disney World getting his daughter married. Chris Salata?
That's Salata. That sounds good, man.
All right, close enough. Welcome to the show, Chris. How are you today, my friend?
Hey, I'm doing good. How are you doing today?
I am amazing, but you already knew that. We have a fun topic today. We often do trip reports. This time we're doing a little bit differently. We're not going to do a pre-post trip report. We're going to do a post-only trip report. Chris went out to Walt Disney World with his wife and didn't do, well, you kind of did a park, but for the most part, you didn't do any parks. And we want to talk about that. Can you go to Walt Disney World and not visit any parks? I did it for a single day. I'm planning a trip in December. I'm going to be doing pretty much just that, just hanging out at the resorts. So let's find out how this went. Chris, I haven't seen you since your daughter's wedding. How was everything going with that?
Oh, absolutely fabulous. And she got married in July of 21, so just over a year ago. Yeah. And it was just a quick recap. It was a small ceremony with a dozen or so people over at Saratoga Springs, overlooking Disney Springs, over by the Congress Park pool, and it was absolutely phenomenal. And as it would be, and as planned, I might also say, she had her full-blown wedding ceremony this past beginning of July as well at downtown Indy, and that was absolutely fabulous too. So, yeah, she and her hubby have been married for just over a year now, and they are doing absolutely fantastic.
Oh, it's great to get the update. So they did get I guess it was because of COVID. It was part of the reason too. They couldn't really have a full. full on
Well,
wedding?
yeah, it was partially COVID, and the way that she did, I mean, they tried to get it done through Disney, and because of COVID, they didn't respond to any, pretty much any calls or anything like that. But also because her in-laws are from Canada, they had to deal with a lot of travel restrictions. So
You're talking to the prince of that.
yeah, exactly. I'm preaching to the choir. So when they came down in 21, it was a big ordeal for them, and it was very much appreciated that they came down. It was great to meet their whole family, and it was a whole lot easier this time in 22. Got to meet even more of their family, which was really epic. What a fantastic family for my daughter to be a part of.
Right on. That's good to hear, because as this show comes out, I will be heading to the airport to go to Walt Disney World for the first time since 2020. Good to hear it's easier now for Canadians to get there.
Absolutely.
So now, was this planned that you were just? Where did you? First of all, when did you go?
We went towards the end of July, so only a couple of weeks ago that we were out there, and you did go to Disney. You didn't go to New York and say, "Well, we didn't go to any parks on this vacation." Right. No, we were actually at Disney, and we actually had 3 nights at Saratoga, and it was kind of planned that way. And it was after the last trip, which was very busy with wedding plans and friends and family, and of course we were there for a full week. We did a split stay, and it was very busy. And when we came back, we knew that we were going to pretty much empty nesters, and so we're like, well, we've been talking about doing a no park trip, and we were actually talking about that from a family perspective, for the whole family to just not do a park. But we thought, with nobody else able to go with us this year, why don't we go down to Disney, and just the two of us do a non-park trip and see how it goes. And I'll admit to you, when we were first planning this, we were like, is there really going to be enough for us to do? And
you kidding me? There's lots to do.
Well,
but you know that.
Exactly. But here's the thing. It's a whole fear of missing out bit. I mean,
it's the draw.
It's the draw.
Yeah.
How many times? I mean, one time I was in Florida. I was in Jacksonville, Florida for a business trip. Everybody ended everything early. I wasn't leaving until the following morning. I did a 3-hour drive to Disney because I'm thinking to myself, I'm in Florida. I can't not do something Disney while I'm in Florida. So it was kind of along those same lines where, can we avoid that FOMO, that fear of missing out, to do something, at Disney without going to the parks. And it was kind of a progressive feeling of, gee, okay, we're gonna do this. Okay, we're trying to convince ourselels we're gonna do this. And
honestly, it's funny you say that, because my wife and I are going through the exact same thing right now.
Yeah,
because we're doing a 3-day Disney. We're going on a cruise, and we're gonna have a couple more days at Disney World, staying at Pop Century. And we're like, let's just not do a park for those 3 days. Let's explore Walt Disney World. And we're like, should we go for one more park day? Should we not? And we're doing the exact same. I know exactly what you're saying.
Exactly. And even there were a few times I basically said, if all else fails, let's just go get a 1 day, 1 park and hit a park. Mm-hmm. And as we got closer and closer, we kept on increasing our list of different things that we wanted to do. And the funny part about it was that list kept on getting longer and longer and longer. And eventually we stopped and said, okay, now we have to pare that list down again.
We got too much to do in our few days we're going to do.
Yeah, because now, mind you, it was 4 complete days. It was only 3 nights, but we had, we actually flew out of Indianapolis, and we got a 5:00 in the morning flight. And that is, I'll tell everybody right now, that really is too early in the morning to fly. However, it almost guarantees you that your flight's going to be, there and pretty much on time. Mm-hmm. And you get, basically, we were at the resort by 9:30. And also on a Friday, the day we left, we had a 10 p.m. flight. So we pretty much had virtually the entire day before we finally had to leave Saratoga.
Let me just ask you, did you do Magical Express or Sunshine Flyers? How did you get from the airport to Saratoga.
I'm glad you brought that up.
I'm back.
Yeah, we actually did Sunshine Flyer, and
Okay.
that I need to mention this because this was one of those things. I mean, totally an experience that was excellent, and it was one of those things. Had no problem booking our bus. Kind of picked we were able to pick our own time to be picked up from the airport. Got to the airport. We probably only waited 10 or 15 minutes, boarded the bus, maybe another 10 minutes, and then we were first ones to be dropped to Saratoga. And very nice bus, very nice people. And this is actually an important part of the whole story. They had charging ports underneath, in between the seats, and I plugged my phone in, and to kind of cut a little bit out, I put my phone in a little cup holder that was in the seat.
Oh no! No! I see where this is going.
Got off the bus and went to literally picked up my luggage, walked over to Bell Services, went to look at my phone for a second, and realized, crap, I left it on the bus. I left my phone on the bus. Now, here's the funny thing is, it was my fault. One of those things.
Well, it's not the driver's fault.
Well, I know, but the thing is, I mean, I realized how much of a dum-dum I was. But here's the thing, and this is why I think this is important to bring this up. Immediately, I called him. I said, listen, I just got off the bus at Saratoga. And I knew that he was making a couple other stops. I said, I left my phone on the bus. And she's like, oh, no. And their customer service was fantastic. And over the next hour and a half, I got a couple phone calls from them saying, we're still looking, we're still contacting the driver. And then I got a phone call from them saying, we found your phone and we're actually going to bring it back to you.
Wow.
And so now the cool part about it was that Sunshine Flyer, all of their buses are wrapped up looking like old time trains. And then they're really cool buses. So when they went to bring it back, over comes a Sprinter van that looked like a caboose. It was classic. It was classic. And so he brought my phone to me, and I really have to say that sort of customer service just won me over. It was within an hour and a half of me calling him, I had my phone back in my hand, and I was it was really a terrifying momentary experience because unfortunately I've got a lot of work stuff on my phone. And so, but it was very much a way that I'm like, okay, this is the only thing that's going to go wrong with the trip because it already happened. So
it comes in threes, Yeah,
well, fortunately it was the only crap thing. But yeah, so we did Sunshine Flyer, and the thing is, on the way home, I'll go ahead and mention it. Well, we want to kind of get it out of the way. For the flight on the way home, with Magical Express, they always said they'll pick you up 3 hours beforehand. And I've always, we've been hearing, obviously, different pieces of feedback in regards to long lines at airport check-ins and at TSA and so on and so forth. The nice part is that I was able to book the return trip even like an hour beforehand. So instead of being picked up normally between 6 and 7, I said, pick me up between 5 and 6. And I got messages from them saying, hey, your bus will be at Saratoga at 6:25 or 6:25, not 5 and 6. I mean, 7 to 8, it was an hour. So basically 6:25 was my scheduled time. It was within my window. And at 6:24 on Friday, that bus was there.
There you go. Yeah.
And so
that's all you asked for.
That's all I had. Yeah. And again, it was flawless. It was perfect. It was great. And it was exactly what you needed. And so I was perfectly satisfied. So, but
that's so good to hear.
Yeah. So, but yeah, so we fortunately, like our room at Saratoga was actually ready early, which was very nice as I was panicking for my phone. But it was very nice also we had a nice 1-bedroom villa overlooking Disney Springs, and it was the room was beautiful. It was one of the newly renovated rooms. It just got renovated within the last year. Really was absolutely fantastic.
Oh, good to hear. Good to hear. So you say you didn't do any park, but you kind of, let's be honest, you did do a park, but you didn't. It was a freebie with DVC. You did the Moonlight Magic at Disney's Animal Kingdom,
right?
Which is, I've done that before. That's like an amazing event. I had so much fun doing that. Tell us a little bit about that before we get into the non-park.
Sure. So we were not planning on any parks at all. And then when the opportunity came up that this was an option, we went through the queuing and we ended up getting a slot to go. And members were able to get there at 7:00. So we got there probably just after 7. And quite honestly, it was a very nice event. We didn't do a whole lot. Like one of the first, like the park was supposed to close normally at 8. Well, we were thinking, let's go ahead and go hit the safari before it actually closes. They actually closed the safari at 7. So we couldn't do the safari, and it was not on the list of the...
Oh, get out. They closed the safari early?
Yeah, and they did not include it as part of the attractions for DVC members.
Oh, that's a shame. I see. When I did the Moonlight Magic, the safari stayed open.
Ah, yeah.
And it was the best safari ride ever because there was hardly any animals, and the cast member that was driving was the funniest cast member. I swear they took someone from the Jungle Cruise and put him in the safari van because they were pointing out, if you look off to your right and you have a shine of flashlight, you might see a stick. And if you look off to the left, there's some rocks there, but people take it for granted.
That's Skipper Cruise all over again. Oh yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was like the best safari ride ever because there was very few animals out, and the driver made the best of it. It was hilarious. That's too bad. That's a shame that it wasn't open for you, that you didn't get that experience.
Yeah, that was one of our biggest bummers. But they had Pandora was open. We haven't gone on the Navi River journey since it actually opened, so we decided to go ahead and do that. We weren't necessarily going to do Flight of Passage. It was an hour-long wait. We're like, okay, that's fine. We'll just go do some other things. We went ahead. We did, we did Everest. We did Tough to Be a Bug. We were just kind of enjoying a very relaxed time. Because keep in mind, this is the same day that we had a 5 a.m. flight, which means that we were up at 3. So, this was a very long day. And while I had a cat nap on the plane, my wife doesn't sleep on planes. So it was a very long day for us. And so, we ate, they gave us like coupons for snacks and stuff like that. And I actually had my wife try something different. The cinnamon glazed almonds and pecans over at Drinkwalla over in the Asia section right before you get to Yak and Yeti. Tried some of those. I love those things. My wife's never tried them. Now I think she found her new favorite walk around snack type of thing.
Is that at Yak and Yeti or on the bus just outside?
It was in the like the snack shop right outside, not the quick serve, but as you walk into Asia, it's right there. And so we're just kind of walking around. And we had coupons for like 2 snacks and also some of the games over at Thailand, and we weren't going to do those. Yeah, we were going to do those, so we actually gave those to another family that was walking in there, and I took some pictures of the Tree of Life at night, which is one of my specialties, and I needed an updated picture to go along with my collection, and we actually got split ourselves a meal from over at Flame Tree, and we just kind of sat back and enjoyed just a really relaxed evening. And we actually were only there for about 3 hours, and we decided to call it a night because it was a very long day for us. Now the thing is that the event was really cool. It was very well done, very laid out. You kind of wish that there was a little bit more along the lines of attractions that were open, but that's okay. Again, it was probably better for us because we did what we wanted to do, and
you were exhausted by this time. I'm sure
we were. Yeah. It was really just one of those days, but it was a great first day, and it was very relaxing to be able to get into our room, and it was just a very nice way to end it.
Right on. So now you got the rest of your. Now I'm guessing because it was so late, you didn't have to shrink your list too much of that massive list that you made. Maybe a couple things you had to drop that you were planning on doing that first night. You might have had plans, but so what all did you do? Like what you said you kept yourself too busy on this relaxing trip. What was the
well? Going back to that first day, after I got my phone, we decided that we were going to just kind of jaunt on over to Disney Springs to get some lunch.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw something somewhere and I thought, I've got to try this. And so we went to the Hangar Bar, which happens to be one of my favorite places to go. And my wife has never been. And so I introduced her to that. And it was just starting to rain when we got there. So we sat outside. The rain was nicely falling. I mean, it was really pretty good rain coming down. I mean, it's afternoon, Florida, summer,
July.
Expected. Go figure. And they had this. I can't remember what it was called, but basically it was a charcuterie board. I can't pronounce that, but all the different little
cheeses and
meats and stuff like that inside a big old pretzel.
Oh wow!
And
okay,
it was really, really cool. So we weren't super hungry because it was really hot, and the heat does change the way that you eat. And we just sat there and kind of watched the rain while we ate this, and it was just a nice lighter meal to kind of just enjoy on this day. And then the rain kind of went away. We walked just jaunted through Disney Springs a little bit just to kind of I won't say get the lay of the land, but we knew that we were going to kind of plot and plan a little bit more for the rest of the day. Then we went back over to the Congress Park pool, and we just chilled out in the pool for a couple hours.
Oh wow!
And it was so relaxing because we didn't have to really go anywhere. We didn't really have to do anything. So it was, we kind of alternated between being in the pool, going to the hot tub, going back to the pool, and just to, talk and just to, be ourselves in a very relaxing atmosphere. And, there were other people enjoying the pool there at the same time, but it was certainly not as busy as the feature pool over at the Springs. And then we kind of just, once we were done there, we kind of slowly got ready, and that's when we kind of made our way over to Animal Kingdom on that
Animal Kingdom.
Yeah.
So, fairly relaxing first day for sure.
It was. Now,
other than staying up too late at Animal Kingdom.
Absolutely. Now, the nice part about the next day, though, is because we weren't going to a park.
You're not rope dropping anything.
You're not rope dropping anything. Didn't have to get up to deal with Disney or Genie Plus or anything else like that. We got up late. It was like 8:30. It was like, people don't. Okay,
I know some people are listening. They're going, "That's late."
Yeah, no. Some people are saying that's late. For us, it's late when you're at Disney. Because a lot of times for a lot of times we're like, "Oh my gosh, it's 6:00. It's time to get ready because we got to get everybody up." Because when you're also traveling with other people, especially my son and my daughter, love them dearly. Both of them sometimes need a little bit of a motivation to get out of bed, and that's cool because it's their vacation too. But basically, I went out into the patio and had a beverage and a granola bar just to kind of wake up a little bit with, and I kind of was just flipping a little bit through my phone, but I was really enjoying the view, and I just kind of sat there, and people were starting to jog across. It was a beginning of a beautiful morning, and it really just set myself mentally for just a relaxing day. My wife came out probably about 20 minutes later, and we were enjoying just, some snacks that we brought from home. And, she brought open one of the Diet Cokes that she got the night before. And we were just kind of just chilling. Before we know it, we spent 2 hours sitting on that patio.
Wow.
Just overlooking the view, watching people, relaxing and just talking and just thinking what we're going to do. And, that to some people that might sound boring, but afterwards we looked at our
present.
Yeah. It might sound boring, but all of a sudden we looked like, how the heck fire did we spend 2 hours sitting here?
Yeah.
We're just talking about different things and just because we have a lot of things going on, but it was just such a relaxed conversation. So after a little bit, we went ahead. And we were meeting a friend of mine that happens to live locally, lives over in Celebration, a coworker and good friend of mine. And we went to go to Raglan Road. We actually got an ADR for like noon. Mm-hmm. So, and it's a place that he's never been and we've never been. And there was also a little bit of an ulterior because he happened to have grabbed me a Figment popcorn bucket when they came out several months ago. Mm-hmm. So he was finally bringing it back to me. And so we actually had a very enjoyable lunch over at Ragland Road, which again I've never been to, and our meals were absolutely amazing. Like Kathy had like this pot roast type of thing that she's like, it was really heavy, but it was also very tasty. My friend had the fish and chips, which were like no other fish and chips I've ever seen. I mean, it was a big piece of fish,
Yeah, okay.
lightly breaded, and with type of thing. And I had this very spicy chicken sandwich that was absolutely phenomenal. And they didn't have any like entertainment or going on or anything else like that time, but it was a very relaxed atmosphere. The food was excellent. The service was awesome.
It's funny. It's funny you see. I've never been to Raglan Road myself.
Okay.
I did have it booked, and we ended up canceling it because it was the same night that Moonlight Magic was on at Animal Kingdom. So we ended up canceling Raglan Road so we could do that.
I would like to try it one night when there is entertainment there, but we just had different plans, and it was also during a weekday, so I'm trying to fit within my friend's work schedule as well, because I didn't want to take him too far away from his office type of thing.
Yeah,
but it was I really enjoyed it. I mean, again, I want to try it again. It's how much I actually want to enjoy it and try something different.
Yeah,
and especially with all the different options that you have, it's like really gotta try it. From there, we actually did some shopping, and actually, tell you the truth, Stan, you probably have met my friend at Star Wars Celebration in Chicago. As he and his wife were dressed up as Mandalorian. One was like a Thor Mandalorian, and the other one was a Loki Mandalorian.
Okay.
I don't know if you happen to have run into them, but
probably.
So the thing is,
sounds like they would stand out.
Yes, they do. So leading into that, the fun part is that, of course, where did we go afterwards? We headed up over to the Star Wars store.
Of course. And
so we're kind of looking through things. He and I are talking, and I was actually talking a little bit about some of the characters that he's got, planned out and stuff like that. And of course, he found it was the George Lucas Stormtrooper action figure that he's been looking for, and he's like, I'm going to get these because I have not seen them yet. And so I'm like, cool. And so we're just kind of talking, and we ended up parting ways. And by now it's mid-afternoon, and it's Wednesday, and we knew that there was one thing that we wanted to do over at the community hall, and that was Mickey tie-dye shirts.
Oh, okay, yeah, those are fun.
And the cool part about it is that it's probably the coolest thing you can do, where you can get a souvenir for only $17.
Yeah.
And
I've done it at Pop Century before.
Okay. Very cool.
Yeah, it was a wonderful experience.
It really was. It was fun, and the cast member there that was doing that with us had the most excellent personality, very, very guest focused, and we ended up coming out with two of the most coolest looking Mickey shirts that I think I could ever imagine. I think my wife's came out a little bit better than mine, to be honest with you. Mine looks a little bit more, in some places looks a little more pink than red, but that's me. And it was awesome.
I'm glad yours turned out, because mine didn't turn out the greatest. I went a little bit too over. I made the Mickey black, and I went a little bit too over one spot, so that it really exaggerates it when you go over a little bit too much. And I used too much yellow, because I like yellow. Yellow is my favorite color. Sure. And on a white shirt, the yellow doesn't show up very well. So tip for you, if you ever do the Mickey tie-dye, avoid using yellow. It's not going to turn out very well.
Well, so here's the funny part is that you talk about that. And so they have the 3 tips that you are supposed to like color black, or a single color that's supposed to be Mickey's head.
Right.
Well, the funny part about it is that Kathy misunderstood what she said, and she did that part black, but then she also did the next section down black as well.
Oh, yeah, that's not going to work. And that worked out?
Well, here's where some magic came into play. Because the cast member, her name was Lily, she was absolutely phenomenal. And she's like, I'm just, it's probably not going to turn out. So she's like, I'm just not sure. And she's like, would you like to do another one? She goes, I'm going to give you, she was like, I'm going to give you this one no matter what. But she goes, would you like to try again on a different shirt? And my wife's like, sure. So we ended up doing 3 shirts. My wife doing 2 of them and the third. the funny part is that, you're supposed to wait several days, unwrap it, and then wash them out. And we actually waited until the following Wednesday.
That's what I did.
We just let them wrap, and they were still.
I brought mine home and waited till I was home, and
exactly.
It was a week,
it was a whole week, and we decided to basically colorize my bathtub and get everything all cleaned out, and mine came out really nice. Her second one came out really nice, and believe it or not, the one where she screwed up, the center is like a black area, but almost looks like a hidden Mickey because it's almost like white dotted lines from where the rubber bands were. So it actually is very unique. She kind of lucked out, but it was a little bit of magic coming our way because very rarely do you screw something up and like, here, just go ahead and try again. You're going to take this with you anyway. But
it was just going to throw. What are you going to do with it? Salad again or rinse it out? No, she's just going to throw it out. So
so it was very nice of her to do so. Then afterwards, we went up. We actually had our change of our clothes with us, and we actually went ahead and changed over at a locker room and hopped into the Springs pool for a little over an hour or so, just to kind of enjoy they had the pool party going on and different things like that. And it was
kids playing with hula hoops and whatnot.
Yes. And it was so hot that day. I'm like, oh yes, this feels awesome. So it was just kind of a nice go from one relaxing thing to another relaxing thing to another relaxing thing. And Stan, the time went by so quickly that day. Mm-hmm. It was just it was something I really wasn't expecting. But the interesting part was that we actually went back after our pool time, and the funny part about it was that we both took a shower after getting between being hot and going into the pool, all the chlorine. We both laid down. We both fell asleep for like a good half hour, 45 minutes. And it's kind of funny. It's like, I feel a little on the older side. I'm like, I'm going to take my late afternoon nap before doing different things.
I hate to admit it, but I'm at that point too now where I used to go to the park, I rope drop, and I'd leave when the caretaker said, we're closed, right? I'm getting a nap in the afternoon if I can take it. If I can squeeze one in, I'm going for it.
Well, the funny part about it is that, we weren't talking like a 2-hour thing. It was like both of us kind of just started snoozing for a good half hour. But there was also a good thing.
It takes the edge off.
It takes the edge off. It was a good thing. But it was also because we had 9:00 reservations at Topolino's that night. Nice. Now, have you been by chance?
No. I've been to Riviera, but I haven't been there yet.
Okay. So the fun part about Topolino's was that yes, it was on the later side. We normally don't ever eat that late, but
that is late. Yeah.
But it was when we can get in, and it was one of those things that we really wanted to try it. And actually, we were also trying to get in for breakfast. We couldn't get in for breakfast.
Oh, okay.
But so we went ahead and walked over to Disney Springs and caught our bus over to the Riviera. During that time, the heavens opened up and the water came crashing down. And I mean, I'm talking, it came down in buckets. And so fortunately we were on the bus and we got a little wet getting from the bus stop into Riviera. No real big deal, but it was just like, oh my gosh, the torrential downpour. And we got there a little bit early just because you never know how Disney buses are going to work. So we actually kind of dried off at the little lounge. It's not even really a lounge. It's more of just a nice seating area. It looks like a library over there right next to the little bakery cafe there. I got myself a nice coffee, and which I really have to say that place has the best iced coffee. I don't know what it is about it, but their blend of Joffrey's coffee is just absolutely the one.
Nice.
It was just so nice. So we walked up, took the elevator up to Topolino's, and we were there about 20 minutes before you can actually check in. And they're actually looking for people to do more of the online check-in for your reservations using the app.
Okay.
And that was something a little new for us. So, and you can check in, I think it's like, I want to say it's like somewhere between like 10 minutes before or 10 minutes after your reservation. Don't quote me on that, but you could do a little before, a little after.
Mhm.
It won't let you do it until your earliest time possible. And then of course you would get a text message when your reservation is actually ready. But we went ahead and walked up, and they're like, well, you're a little bit early. We can text you when it's time, but you can go ahead and sit in our lounge and you can enjoy something from there while you wait. And we decided, okay, let's go ahead and do that. And we got ourselves it was like a mango old fashioned, which was absolutely really good. But then I also realized I never really realized how expensive cocktails were at Disney.
Well, all that money you saved on park tickets.
Yeah, yeah. That was one of those things. I mean, and the funny part about it is that, okay, I'm not really a big drinker.
Yeah, no, I know.
You know, but
I'm the same way. Every time I do happen to buy a drink, it's what?
Yeah, I mean, it's like, excuse me.
I just want a glass.
I don't want the bottle.
I don't want the bottle. I just want a glass. Yeah.
And but we went ahead and we got one. My wife and I were just going to share it. We're only going to be there waiting for about 10, 15 minutes anyway. And while we're sipping on it, on the beverage, you know, it was one of those things where the fireworks over at Epcot started happening for Harmonious. By now, the rain has obviously kind of dwindled down. They also walked over to us and then invited us to go to the terrace so we can watch the fireworks outside.
Oh, nice.
And it was very nice. It was a little, I don't want to say crowded side, but there was probably about 15 or 20 people out there, and the terrace is not terribly big. Mm-hmm. And there was no music piped in or anything, but it was nice to see the fireworks while we were kind of finishing our drink. And just as the fireworks were ending, we got a message saying that our table was ready. We went ahead, checked in, got seated, and I'll admit to you, I wasn't really sure what I was going to enjoy, because, you know, you look through the menus and you're like, well, there's this and this and this. Kathy is very much a steak person, so she ended up she knew she was going to get the filet. Mm-hmm. She knew that was going to be it. Me, I'm more adventurous. And our waiter for the evening really had a passion for food, and I mean, we're talking just deep down inside. He just loved to go through, and he gave us a really cool description of like the background of the restaurant and a little bit about the chef and how some of the recipes here are from his mom. And it was, you know, one of those things. And so I tried the bouillabaisse, which is a fish stew.
Oh, okay. You are adventurous.
It is, and I'm like, I'm going to try this. And he's like, that is one of the recipes that came from the chef's mom. And I'm like, okay. And so Kathy's filet came out absolutely perfect, and she was just really loving the whole thing. And for an appetizer, I got the slow cooked octopus.
Oh gosh! Yeah, okay, I thought I was adventurous, but yeah, no. You...
Now the funny part about it is that my wife's like,
yeah, no kidding, turning green.
She's like, I don't know how you can do this. And the last time I had octopus, I mean, it was chewy. It was just not all that great. And
let's order it again.
Yeah. This one was absolutely amazing. I mean, okay. It was tender. It tasted more like a fish than what you would expect. Had absolutely fabulous flavor. It did not. It was like eating something else other than something that, you know, had 8 legs and walked around. So I know everybody's listening, probably going, "Oh my gosh!" No, it was fantastic.
I mean, if people didn't order it, they wouldn't have it on the menu, right?
Exactly. Now there are some people like, "Oh, I'm gonna order the octopus. Let's see how this goes."
Tentacles, please.
Yeah, and it was extraordinarily good. Well, Kathy's steak came out. It was absolutely phenomenal. My stew came out, and it was, to say that it was one of the best things I've ever eaten at Disney is not an exaggeration.
The bouillon beast, the fish stew?
Yeah. Nice. It was seriously one of the best things I have ever eaten at Disney.
That's a big word. You go a lot.
I go a lot. I eat a lot.
Yeah,
hey, listen.
Yeah.
You don't get a body like this by being a picky eater, ladies and gentlemen. And it was absolutely amazing. And I really enjoyed it. And later on I was talking with our waiter about it, and he's like, yeah, how everything is so fresh, and how the chef wanted to make sure it was, perfect, for the guests that come. And it was really, he was spot on how he described it. I mean, this is a case where it's like, someone always tries to describe something, and you always wonder whether or not it's described by another person, if it's really going to be that way. Well, our waiter just nailed it. And the interesting part about the evening there is that at 9:00, it's already a late reservation. We were there until like 10:30 or something like that. And, we were like one of the last people to walk out, and we never felt rushed. Mm-hmm. Even though there were other people when we arrived, we had nice distances between us and other guests. And we ended up having dessert, and they gave us a little extra dessert to celebrate our wedding anniversary. And we never felt rushed. We never felt like, hey, you got to get out of here and type of thing. It was just an absolutely amazing experience. Stan, I got to tell you, this has got to be a place that people try. And I don't say that lightly, Mm-hmm. I know it's hard to get into. It's hard to get into. It's very hard to get into. Some people have said in the beginning, breakfast was better than the evening meals and stuff.
That's what I've heard. Yeah.
We were not disappointed at all.
They're probably not serving the octopus at breakfast. So if you want the breakfast, you got to go for the dinner.
Probably not. And I really wanted to try the breakfast because I knew it was kind of like an all-you-can-eat type of thing where you can order more than one thing off the menu.
Yeah.
And it's also, if I'm not mistaken, it's also a character meal. Mm-hmm. But alas, we did not get to do that. But again, being that we didn't have to go anywhere the next morning, we took our time. Yeah. And we walked out. Kathy wanted to see the mural that was over there, kind of like as you walk under the Riviera to go to the Skyliner. She wanted to see that mural. She never got to see it last year when we were there, so we took some time. And then as we were waiting, we ordered a minivan to take us back to Saratoga.
Okay.
And that was a treat for my wife because she loves the minivans, and as much as I'm really glad that the service is there, it is really stinking expensive.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's no way anybody can try to change my mind on that. It's really an expensive thing, but it can be very much worth it if you have a large number of people, and have some kids need car seats and stuff like that. There is a place for that service. There really is. But
it's also a bit of an experience too, because I've never done it, but what I understand is the cast members that are driving the minivans are very, very knowledgeable, and they can give you kind of information you've never heard before, and they play Disney tunes if you would like, and it's more than just an Uber or a Lyft.
Yeah, I would agree with that. We had a wonderful driver. He was very conversational, had some nice Saratoga Springs centric music that was coming on, and it was a nice ride. And I don't know if everybody realizes this. They've switched to basically not only they have like the accessible vans, but their main vehicles are now Suburbans. So they're very roomy, they're very big, and so you definitely don't feel cramped or anything like that. So
yeah, which is nice for sure.
But that was the second day. Now, granted, what did we do? We woke up, we chilled out, had lunch, pool time, took a nap, ate. Some people's like, how is that?
You also made T-shirts. You made we
made T-shirts as well. Yeah. Some people might say, how is that
a full day?
Full day, and it's like before you know it, it is a full day. And even if you don't do this as a part of a non-park trip, the fact of the matter is, do this as a non-park day during a longer trip. It was a great break.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of non-park days. Anytime I do a trip of 5 or more, I always schedule in a non-park day.
Yeah, it was absolutely phenomenal. The next day, which was Thursday, it was one of those things where we did it a little bit differently. Before we got online here today, we were talking a little bit about park hopping, and so this time we decided, well, we're going to go have breakfast over at Trails End, over at
resort park hopping.
Yeah, but we're going to start with food, of course. And so we're like, let's go over to Fort Wilderness. So again, we kind of got up in a relaxed pace. We got a bus over to Magic Kingdom, and then we took the ferry from Magic Kingdom to Fort Wilderness. And that was not really long of a wait, considering it was still kind of in the beginning of the day, and the ferries were going back and forth relatively on a regular basis. And we had like
probably had the ferry to yourself, I'm guessing, at that time of day.
There was only there was only like a couple other people that were actually with us. But the nice part was it was like a 10 o'clock reservation, so it wasn't really too big of a deal. We knew things would be running. It wasn't really all that bad.
Yeah.
And so it's been a long time since we've been on one of those boats. A long time since we've been to Fort Wilderness. And we got there a little bit early because, again, we're trying to accommodate for Disney transportation type of scenario, type of delays and scenarios. And we got into our reservation early. And it's a family style skillet type of thing that you get there, and it's $20 a head, and you could always ask for more. And to be honest with you, I know that breakfast is breakfast. With Mickey waffles, it had scrambled eggs with brisket mixed in, which doesn't sound good, but my gosh, it was good.
Oh no, that's good. That's good stuff.
I mean, it's good. Yeah, it wasn't like barbecue sauce brisket pieces.
Yeah,
no. It was brisket. It was good. Your usual meats and pastries and it was just really, really good. Our server was fantastic, and it was her first day there. She was a seasoned cast member, first day though at Trails End, and it was just really, really solid. We enjoyed our breakfast, and then one of the things that we wanted to do to take off on our bucket list was go visit the Tri-Circle D Ranch. And we knew that they recently redid it. They kind of moved some things around because of the resort that they were going to put in that particular area.
Yeah.
And it's all still kind of blocked off, so to speak. But we walked over. It was, kind of by the outpost buses, walked over to Tri-Circle D Ranch. And first off, a beautiful new structure for all the horses that work at Disney. And they had some of them there for display. Some beautiful Clydesdales and other breeds of horses. They also had a Calliope on a horse-drawn carriage that you can press a button, you can hear the music come from it. Also, they have pony rides for those that are young enough and small enough. Obviously, I can't ride a pony, but but it was a nice jaunt to take some pictures of that, and it was a 10 or 15 minute thing at the most, but it was still really.
Do they still have that big? It's a vintage kaleidoscope type thing, and it plays music.
Yeah, that's the Calliope. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, that's still there.
Yep, it's still there, and it was playing.
Is it still playing? Awesome.
Yeah, it was really good. It was really cool, and for a minute I was really hesitant to press the button because I'm thinking to myself, what happens if this thing is like really super loud by accident?
No,
they had it inside. Inside, and so it was at the proper volume, so it wouldn't scare the horses that were feeding right behind me. But it was very nicely done, and didn't get to see the previous version of the Tri-Circle D Ranch building, but this was nice. And from there, we went, took a nice stroll back over to the lakefront. We waited on a picnic table while we waited for the boats to come in, and then we went, basically back over to Magic Kingdom, and this is where we started our monorail crawl, as we like to call it. Hopped the monorail, my wife's favorite form of Disney transportation, and walked over to the not the Grand Floridian, but the Contemporary. Had to think about that backwards. Went over to the Contemporary, where we did a little shopping and kind of just walked around there a little bit. I love those shops over there at the Contemporary. I don't know what it is about them. They have some of the coolest things, and I ended up getting my wife a really cool monorail handbag.
Oh, nice.
Yes. So that was something. She's like, and the thing is, we walked in once, then we walked back in, and she's like, I really like it. I go, you're going to get it. She goes, no, it's too expensive. I go, nope, you're going to get it. I know you want it. She goes, yeah, I do. I'm like, okay, fine. So
where are you going to use that though? Is she going to use that at home?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she would.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, okay. My wife does collect things like different Disney bags, some a lounge fly piece here and there, and of course she has her collection of Doonies. But she actually does use several of them, throughout the year for different things. I mean,
what's nice about using them during the year, though, is if you run into another Disney fan, they immediately recognize it, and you got something to talk about right away.
That's more true than you think.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
I mean, my wife would see someone else's. Oh, I love that Dooney. Oh yes, I got it here at the Grand Floridian and this and the other. Yeah. And you have it's a nice little
Target, and you see somebody with a Spirit jersey on or something like that.
Absolutely. Oh, and there were Spirit jerseys of all different sorts. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is especially for the 50th. It was really pretty cool. From there, we actually bypassed the Polynesian. The Polynesian has never been one of our. I don't want to say it's not been one of our favorites because that has a negative connotation to it, but it's never been one of our biggest draws.
I'm really surprised to hear you say that.
Well, it's my daughter's favorite. I will admit that. For her graduation, we actually stayed for club level there for a night and stuff like that. She absolutely loved it. I think part of it's also price. When you're a DVC member, I don't want to like pay a lot of cash for rooms. I know they have some of the DVC rooms there. I'm actually really interested in the new DVC building that's going up here shortly. So we'll see about that. We'll see if that changes my mind. But we did go over to the Grand Floridian, and we did kind of looked around a little bit over there and just kind of enjoyed a couple of the shops, and then we basically took a bus back to Saratoga, and it started to rain again. So we decided we're just going to chill out a little bit. We actually sat on our patio while it was raining, and it was nice because we weren't getting wet or anything.
Cup of coffee.
Actually, sun tea. I actually took the coffee pot inside our villa, filled it up with water, took a green tea bag and a English breakfast tea, put it in the pot before we left that morning, set it on the table outside. Came back, a little bit later. It was a perfectly sun tea, perfectly brewed pot of sun tea. And
I've never even heard of such a thing.
Really?
Yeah, no. That is okay. So hang on, like a bag of green tea and a bag of breakfast.
English breakfast, or you can just do, if you don't like the flavor of green tea. I happen to love green tea. Just do 2 bags of English breakfast or any other black tea that you like. I just, even here at home, I have a 2-quart mason jar, fill it up, throw it in there, tighten it up, put it outside, wait about 4 or 5 hours, bring it back in, throw it in the fridge, and drink tea the next day. And so I did that instead of drinking soda. I did that.
Okay.
So I just saved the bags of Joffrey's coffee for when I come home. And so we waited for that, but then, we kind of just also went back to the pool once the rain stopped, kind of, again, chill down at the pool a little bit. And because we knew that we had a 7:00 reservation for the California Grill. Now, previously, I have always said and attested that the the California Grill is my favorite restaurant on property. I'll give you the answer to that here in a minute. But we got seated right away, and the ambiance was very busy. It was a very busy evening, and we both really had a really wonderful time. And we had, again, Kathy had a filet, and I had pork tenderloin. And it was both our meals were absolutely really, really good. Oh, and to start with, I had the basically duck flatbread.
Okay.
And
I thought you were going to say koala heart or something.
I would think that'd be more at Gico than over at Cali Grill, to be honest with you. And Kathy had some pot stickers that they had, and everything was really, really good. And the interesting part to it is that we were doing a lot of comparisons between Cali Grill and Topolino's, and that's why I basically said Topolino's is now my favorite. Premium service. Is that, first off, the tables were so close to each other when we were at California Grill. When we were talking about what to get, especially for appetizers. Not that there's anything wrong with this. I'm a conversationalist myself. I like to talk to people, talk to strangers and stuff like that. The people next to us started talking to us about appetizers and stuff like that. Well, I had this and that and the other, and you should try this and that. And I think that's fun and everything else like that. But it's like, enough was enough at one time. It's just like, hey, thanks a lot. And
suddenly you're at the kibachi place in Japan.
At least if you're over at Tepanito, you kind of expect it because it is more of a community table, so to speak.
Yeah.
But I've been there and have had less conversations with the strangers than I did with the people next to us this time. And not that there's anything wrong with that. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to sound like a jerk like that when I say that. But it was just like there was a little bit of a time where enough was enough. Mm-hmm. And our service was really good and so on. But of course the big thing is that when we were done with our meal, we wanted to watch the fireworks from the top of the Contemporary. And this is our first time watching Enchantment. And that was the main reason why we got our reservation at Kelly Grill. We weren't going to a park. We had to basically figure out a different way to watch the fireworks.
Yeah.
And afterwards we were pleased with it. We both kind of had the same thought that, it was no wishes. It was no happily ever after. I really hate to say it like that, but the music was, some of the new music was good. So there were some elements of the fireworks that were really kind of awesome. But we're just like, okay, yeah, we saw it. I hate to say it like that, and I'm the kind of person that loves to say awesome things about fireworks because I'm a big fireworks guy. But it was good. We're glad we saw it. But if anybody had to ask, was it better than any of the others? I'm like, no. Mm-hmm. But afterwards, we decided, okay, we're done with our meal. We wanted to go over to the newly reimagined Top of the World Lounge, and there's been some discussions about what was, the arrangements, because they have this thing where they have like I don't want to call it a dining package for it, but you have reservations to go and see the fireworks, and you get a drink and an appetizer and something else like that, and it sounds like it's actually a pretty decent package for $55 a person. Well, we didn't want to do that because we obviously were at Kelly Grill. So we went ahead and put our name on a list afterwards. And about 10 minutes later, we got called up. And I just mainly wanted to go to the bar, get a drink, and walk out and just take pictures. And instead, they sat us down, like purposely. I won't say purposely, but they had the intent of sitting down. And again, we got a couple drinks and kind of enjoyed that atmosphere. It was nice, but it was nice, and it wasn't that much different than before. But it was kind of a nice villainous type of arrangement. If you're a DVC member and are eligible to go up there and are a fan of villains, you'll probably get a good kick out of it.
Yeah.
But I took some pictures from the top, and that was about it.
Can you remind me? Now, I believe if you're DVC, you can kind of put your name on the list, like you said. But if you're not DVC, you have to book it and pay, I think. Is that how it is?
The fact of the matter is, if you're not DVC, you're not getting up there.
See, I heard that they opened it up for non-DVC, but you have to pay the $55 or something like that.
No, in fact, if I'm not mistaken, and again, things...
I could be thinking of a different place or something, yeah.
Yeah, some things have... there was so much different information. I don't even want to call it misinformation.
Yeah.
Because when they first opened it up, there was a lot of different types of information. And basically, you have to be a blue card holder, to be eligible for discounts and other things like that in order to go up there. But it is only DVC members that are eligible, and their guests, of course. So,
yeah.
But they have some nice food offerings up there. Again, it's I don't want to call it bar food, but it's, they still have some nice things up there, some nice desserts and some nice, nice cocktails, but they also had non-alcoholic cocktails, which was the first time that I've seen so far. Oh, and one other thing, before our time at the Kelly Grill, we did go to the Enchanted Rose Lounge over at the Grand Floridian, which I've never been to before. It was very exquisite. It was very, very nice. And we had ourselves a small margarita. Did not come with a small price tag, but we had a small margarita. It was very good, I might add. But that was also a place that if you were just waiting for a dinner reservation and need to stop somewhere, it's a nice place to get a drink. It's very nice ambiance. Really liked it. It was one of those evenings where we knew it was our last night, and we didn't really want it to end because we knew that we were going to have to get up in the morning and pack and all that other junk. But it was really a nice way to end our last night, was to go see the fireworks and to go have a drink over at the Top of the World Lounge. Mm-hmm. And we had a full day, and we didn't realize how full it was until it was all over. And the biggest thing I'm thinking of is that the biggest difference between this and how we have done it before is that we always seem to be rushing and on a timeline. Mm-hmm. And while there were still things we had to do on a timeline, it wasn't anywhere near as bad. So it was kind of interesting to do it. Now,
So now that you've done this, is this going to be the norm for you, or is there going to be parks next time?
We're talking about it now, about what,
because you're DVC, so you're going to be going back. We all know that.
Oh, absolutely. In fact, we are. In fact, we started on Friday.
Did you miss the parks enough? Did you say, okay, next time we got to do Magic Kingdom and see the fireworks on Main Street?
No, we didn't say that. No. And I know that sounds like a big surprise. And again, a couple of adults, we obviously will do Disney differently than when we did it 5 years ago. This next trip, there's two possibilities. We are thinking about doing a cruise, and we're not sure whether or not it'll be like our son joining us, or whether or not it'll be like all son, daughter, son-in-law joining us. Not necessarily sure about how that's going to work. Mm-hmm. Or whether or not we're going to do a little bit longer of again, non-park trip with our son, because he'll be coming back out of college, out of his freshman year of college. And he has actually already told us, he goes, next year I do want something of a vacation before I, go back to
the
school.
Real world.
Yeah. So, you gotta understand, this past summer, he literally was home 7 days all summer long between the time he graduated high school and yesterday, when we actually dropped him off for college. Mm-hmm. So he's been on the go working and everything else like that. So the fact of the matter is that we're contemplating at least another adult parkless trip. And we're actually thinking about making it longer, because there are a number of things that we didn't do. And quite honestly, example, one of the things we had on our list was to go bass fishing.
Okay, yeah.
My wife used to go fishing with her dad, and she loved it. And I was like, I would love to try that sort of thing. Again, didn't get a chance to do it. I would love to go on the balloon over at Disney Springs. I've done it a couple times. I haven't been on it in several years. I love that thing. It's pretty awesome. Mm-hmm. Haven't done it. We talked about doing a Cirque show. Didn't get a chance to do it. These are just a few things that we know that you can do outside of the parks.
You can go canoeing, you can go horseback riding, you can go ride a Segway.
There's just so many different things. Now, we also decided that if we were going to do a park, it would probably be Epcot, because that's it seems like our whole family's favorite place, either Epcot or go to Hollywood Studios, because my son is a huge Star Wars fan.
Yeah.
So we're trying to balance things out. And again, there is some cost factor involved. If you think about it, between last year getting my daughter married, between this year paying for another wedding, because why have one wedding when you can have two for twice the price? And then, of course, my son going off to college, people can go ahead and complain about how expensive Disney is, and sure as heck fire it is. But it's more expensive for me right now because I have other life costs that I have to take in consideration. It's they're getting expensive. I could still afford it, but I have to focus my finances elsewhere because of all these other different. We have really enjoyed ourselves, and we really want to be able to do this again, because sometimes you just got to get away from things. And we tried to stay away from tech as much as possible. We hardly turned on the TV when we were in our room, just mainly to catch the weather, and that's about it. We hardly touched our phones except to see, a few things.
And to leave it on the bus.
That's the funny. You know what the funny part about it is? The terror about leaving my phone on the bus was the fact that it was my phone and it was on the bus. So it was less than the idea of, holy crap, how am I going to be able to get into the park on my phone and this, that, and the other. I didn't even take that many pictures. I just basically took time to enjoy the sights. And Stan, it was definitely something that, even if a person stops and says, I don't know if I could ever do that, I would probably say, are you sure about that? You may want to think about, even just, especially as the kids get older, maybe you won't, either do the non-park day, like you and I were talking about earlier, or days, especially if you're there a little bit longer. And maybe later you just do an adults only trip and try it without parks. And really, I still sit here and say, I can't believe how busy we were and how much time we actually, utilized during, what was in essence 4 full days. So it was quite epic.
Well, you got me excited for our upcoming trip, because I've often said that if any vacation you come home from and you don't need a vacation, you didn't do it right. I'm kind of changing my mind. I'm thinking I might be looking forward to more relaxing type vacation, especially towards the end of our trip coming up. So
that is one other thing, is that I didn't feel like I needed like 2 days to recover.
Yeah,
that was the biggest. Although according to my watch and my wife's watch, we still walked over 10 to 12 miles a day.
Were you walking to Springs every day, or?
Well, yeah, I mean, at least once a day we're heading over to the Springs or doing things or this, that, and the other. Yeah, and you're still walking quite a bit. But we were not. You know what it is that when your feet hurt and stuff like that when you're standing in line just waiting. Yeah, that's really what kills you. But
that's one thing you don't do very much on park days, is stand in line, other than waiting for buses or whatever.
No.
Yeah.
So but we did not feel like, oh my gosh, I needed like another 2 days to recover before I go back to work. I didn't feel that way, although I wanted one more day at Disney.
Yeah, for sure. So, well, Chris, this was a lot of fun. We're going to have to wrap it up here. We're kind of a little bit over. This is great. I always enjoy talking to you.
Same here.
Do you have anything coming up you want to talk about?
Not really. My biggest thing right now is now that my daughter's married, now that my son's at college, I guess I got to get used to being an empty nester a little bit, and that's always a bunch of fun. It's going to be a little bit of a change, but I'm just very proud of my kids and what they are doing, and that just makes me a happy dad. So
I still have one at home I could ship to if you get lonely.
That's okay, but
she's not leaving anytime soon.
I like it.
Alrighty, this was great, and we'll have to talk again soon, Chris. Ken, take it away.
If you have a brilliant idea for a future edition of The Solo Show and would like to take your turn in the guest host's chair, then drop us an email at thesoloshow01@gmail.com. Tell us your idea for the show, and we'll contact you about a date and a time for you to join us. If you would just like to keep the conversation going or have a comment about a previous show, then visit us on Facebook at The Solo Show. All logos, sounds, and songs that are made by and for Disney and its affiliates are owned solely by the Disney Corporation and are not, nor are they intended to be, the ownership of The Solo Show podcast. We hope you'll join us for the next adventure on The Solo Show. Thanks for listening, and bye for now.